How you going, guys, and welcome back to another video, and welcome back to the T-45C ground school. So in the last video we did the departure FY-TTR 7 departure out of Nellis. Now we're going to be turning around and coming back, doing the HI-TAC CAN 21 left approach back into the airfield. I have here in the in a open kneeboard that's not actually showing in game for some reason, but here it is here. We do have it also in game, and I'll bring that up for you right now as well in the kneeboard. So we have here in the kneeboard. Let's go and find that right now. Should have bookmarked it, my bad, I'm sorry. There it is. We'll bookmark that one right now. So this is what we'll be doing here. So you probably can't see, but we're going to be on a radial of at 10,000 feet. Sorry, a radial of 283 degrees. So 283 degrees radial, and we want to be at 15 DME at about 10 to 15,000 feet. So we want to go 280, so we'll go here, course for 283, 283, enter, and we want to come back on that line towards Nellis Air Force Base. Okay, so we'll also do our heading, right, at 283, enter. Right. So let's get ourselves set up for that. So we'll go ahead, turn around, and head back towards Nellis Air Force Base. Why this is not working is beyond me. So the reciprocal heading of 283 is minus 200, and because we're minus 200, we're going to plus 20, so it will be 103. Course 103. Enter. So because I've flown this quite a few times, I should know where it is. And I don't know why that line's not moving. It seems to only be moving when I aim it north for some strange reason. But in other aircraft, it should work. That line should come across when you hit the radial. So, anyways. So we're going to... We need to be at... So have a look. 15 DME. We have to be at 10 to 15,000. Just before it, at around about 13 DME, we need to be at 13 DME. We need to be about 14,000. Moving around to staying at 13, 8,800, moving around up to the northern side of the airfield, and around about 5,500 coming around, and then on a radial of 210 we'll capture the glide slope and then head into Nellis Air Force Base. Right, so we're going to dip under these clouds, get down to 14,000 feet, and we'll go from there. We'll get down to 14,000, not under. You don't want to go under, otherwise you will have problems with mountains. That's the whole point of staying above. We're just scraping the mountains here at 14, well, not mountains, just scraping the clouds, sorry, at 14,000 feet. So we've got Creech just ahead of us, so we've got to be above Creech townscape at 10,000, so we're well and truly above that. So we're just going to maintain 1 meter, or about 5 meters from clouds, so we can still see down on the ground, because we are visual at the moment. And I'll show you the point when you want to come in and start turning. Now we do have the TAC hand activated, or there it is. It looks like it's actually working. Would you look at that? I've got the TAC hand working, so let's drag this across and see if that line comes across, because it's now on the other side of the aircraft. So we'll just fly about 15 degrees in this direction, just to see if that line pops across, and we'll climb back up to 14,000. So you can do this with dark, like when it's nighttime, when there's rain, lots of clouds, fog, all that sort of stuff. This is instrument flying. You focus on your instruments and you learn how to fly. You don't have to visually do it, what I was doing just then. But I was just testing to see if the TAC hand was working, because it wasn't working in the last video and it skew whiffed us a little bit. But anyways, we still managed to depart properly. So anyways, and it looks like the line is actually working now. So that is great after resetting the system. So you can see the line coming across nice and slowly. So that is actually working now. So it does work in you just have to flick the TAC can on and off every now and again. So the line is now creeping across. So we'll start heading at 103 degrees now. And there's that little carrot line there. That's what we're aiming for. And we want to stay about 14,000, so we're going to hold that right there. And here is a good example of why you would use this, because we're flying directly into clouds. Now, obviously, we wouldn't fly directly into clouds, we'd fly up over the top. But if we couldn't and we didn't have the choice, we would fly into clouds and monitor our TAC can there. So we're at 28. So at 15, we want to start descending and turning to our left, maintaining a 13 nautical mile from the TAC can at all times. So we're on the correct path now to enter into Nellis. And this again is the HI-TAC can runway for 21 left. Now you can land on 21 left, 21 right. 21 left is the one with the ILS and DCS in the MSFS and all of that, if you're following along on those. Actually, I think the TAC can, the ILS can be on both runways, depending on the frequency that you use. So just monitoring that TAC can there, we're at 21 nautical miles now. Crap down to 1300, that's alright. Now what we're looking for is a mountain with a whole bunch of trees on it. And you'll see that momentarily, shortly. I think it's down there, those ones. Alright, so we're coming up to 15 nautical miles to Nellis right now. There's a mountain down there with trees. Alright, so we'll start our turn at 15, because that'll push us into 13 right there. Nice 30-degree bank and slowly descending for 8,800. We'll start bringing the speed back to 300 or 350, depends on what you want. You can do 350 overhead brake if you wish. And as we can do this turn, and as you can see, we're creeping in the 13 now. As you do this turn, you can hit your course and you can go 210 degrees, enter. 210 degrees is the runway heading for both runway 21 left and 21 right. Not all the time will it be 210. Sometimes it could be 816 or 194. You never know. So you're looking for this mountain here with trees. That's nice and pretty decent VFRing right there. And then you're looking for that mountain over there. And you can't really see it, but there's another mountain just over there. And we want to be flying over the top of it, either to the left or the right of it. Pretty close to it. So we'll keep our descent coming down, we'll keep the speed coming down. And we're going to fly a nice 20 to 25 degree bank, maintaining 13 nautical miles from Nellis, aiming for that little peak over there. As we come around, you can see that we need to be at 5,500, around about those mountains. That's where we stated just before. As we descend past the 5,500 and those mountains, we'll be going down to 4,400 for 3,380 at about 4.3 nautical miles from the airfield, and then we'll round out at 2,800 for a landing. But we're going to be doing an overhead brake, so we're going to be going right down to 1,500, 300 knots for an overhead left-hand brake for runway 21 left. Screenshots. Alrighty, so as we're coming around, we're at 4,000. We want to be lining up with that road going back into Nellis there. So that road right there, there's also a railway down there. We want to be lining up for that. So we'll maintain 4,500 here. We need to be at 4,400 at 7 nautical miles. So we'll just remain at the 4,500 just for a little bit. So you found that little like a warehouse sort of thing down there. Following these roads in. There's those runways right there. Nice visual cues. So we're at 4,400, 300 knots. We've got a little bit to go, so we can maintain this height now. And that will descend for 3,380 at 4.3 nautical miles. Well, we'll follow the radar altitude now. We're not going to worry about the rest of this. We'll do our overhead brake. So coming in. Lining up with the runways. Overhead brake, runway 21 left. We want to be at 1,500 at 300 or 350 knots. There's 350. Trim the aircraft out for a nice overhead brake. If you watch the landing video, this is going to be very similar. But at least I talked a little bit more about the approach coming in on the HI-TAC can runway 21 left. Now there is many other approaches which we will do videos on as well, but at least it gives you some realism on how to do a departure and a arrival in this aircraft, or in any aircraft really. And you can apply this to every airfield in DCS that has charts. If they don't have charts, I'm pretty sure you can find them online, or Navigraph may have some, and you can follow along on those. You don't need moving maps or anything like that. This is all purely just understanding the charts and how everything works, and when you're meant to do certain things, just following the TAC hand and all that. Alright, so a little bit higher just to have a bit of room. Alright, 350 knots, brake it off, full speed brake out, nice 30-degree bank there, bringing it around, S250, flaps out, gear out, and start trimming for speed. Maintaining the 1,500 there. And we're looking for that town. Once we've found that town, flaps out again. There's that town. And we are being the threshold there. That's cool. Landing lights are out. All that's all done. Brake checks. 3 green. We're all good. We can start descending now and start our approach on in. Trying my hardest here to maintain the best AOA. This aircraft seems to jump around on AOA as well, so make sure you got the 1.2 version of the T-45, because the 1.1 jumped around a lot more. And nice line up there for the runway. At the right height there. Maintaining. Now don't worry about the AOA here, just more look at the yellow ball. If you can, look at the yellow ball, Now we're descending way too fast. You want to bring that up to about 400 feet per minute. Otherwise you will break landing gear on most aircraft. And nice touchdown there. That's a good touchdown. Maintaining the speed, bringing up your elevators, just so you don't take off. You just want to slow the aircraft down. Don't go on the brakes just yet, especially because I have the I'm using my rudder to stay on the main thing, so if you use any brakes you will end up doing some donuts. If you have to roll through, roll through. Alright, dab in the left brake just a tad, dab in the right brake, left brake, right brake, left brake, right brake, and then both at the same time. And coming to a slow stop there, releasing the elevators, and there it is. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and I hope you liked that. We'll see you in the next video. See you guys.